In this video, I'm going to show you how to 3D engrave an image. So you can see the Eagles logo here, and the text that came with that is engraved. The thicker the area that's being engraved is, the deeper the bit is going to go. So that's kind of how the 3D works. Your first step, of course, would be to find an image. When you're looking for an image, look for something high quality. So if you find something that's maybe only 200 pixels wide, that's probably not going to be good enough. So look for something crisp. I'm not doing something with a background here. This works really nice. So clip art sort of images that are just black and white are great. What we're concerned with is making sure that the area that's being engraved is no wider than about 3/4 of an inch. I'll explain more about that when we look at the cutting path. So your first step, find your image, go ahead and download that, save that into OneDrive or whatever project folder you're working in. And then in EnRoute, I'm going to start with a new project. Okay, so I've got EnRoute opened up here. Your first step is to create a new document. You can do that right here, or you can do File New. I'm going to start just with a 12 by 12 document. So width and height, both 12. I'm going to use 3/4 inch thickness, and my surface will be at the top of the plate. You may find after you do your image that will change the size of the document. I'll show you that a little bit later. So I'll just hit OK on that. So here's my document, and I'm going to now bring in that image. It is important when you bring in your image that JPEG or bitmap. If you have a PNG or some other file type, we can convert that in Corel or Photoshop, but we need to change that format. So we're going to import, and I'm looking, mine's on my desktop right now, and I'm importing this Windows bitmap. You may have to change this, so select Windows bitmap JPEG, and I'll select my picture. And like anything else, I can move it around. I can scale it if I want to. I'm pretty happy with this scale, but you could size that if you wanted to. Okay, I'm going to bring that back to kind of that original size. And with the image selected, so click on the image, I'm going to click on Vectorize Bitmap. And I'm not going to change anything in here. I'm just going to hit OK. And so I have my original picture, which I can move that over to the side. And then here is my vector artwork. Okay, so I'll put that roughly in the center, get this one out of the way. You can delete that at this point, really. And the next step would probably be to center this. So I would go and activate my precision input dialog box, and with it selected, if I'm happy with the size, I could move it here if I wanted to. So let's say I want to go 10 inches wide. I can hit OK on that. That'll scale that up. And then if I go to move, I'm going to put it in the center, and this is a 12 by 12 document, so I'm going to center this at 6 and 6. So now it's centered. If you've watched the text video, this is very similar. We're selecting all of the artwork. It sees the red things as inner pockets. We're going to select from the tools. We're going to select an engraving toolpath. And I already have this set in conic, but in this sort by, you would sort by conic and double click on the 90-degree conic. That'll take that up top here. Now your maximum depth on your conic, if we look at it, it's a 1-inch diameter, so the maximum depth would be a 1/2 inch. I'm going to just set this to 0.4. Okay, so I have my 90-degree conic, I have it 0.4, and I'm going to go in and edit my feeds and speeds. So the first thing I want to do is check on my number of passes, and I'm going to bump that up to like 3 passes, and I'm also going to do a final pass. This is our cleanup pass. I'm going to do 0.01 and hit the enter key. And then I have to do feeds and speeds. So my feed rate, I'm going to put in 100. Final pass will be 1/2 that speed, and plunge rate is also 1/2 our feed rate at 50. And our spindle speed is 18,000. That's the max on the router. So I've got final pass in at 0.01, and I've got feed rate at 100, final pass 50, plunge 50, spindle speed 18,000. So I'll hit OK on that. Before I get out of here, I need to check that this is a 3D engraving toolpath. So then I'll hit OK. It's processing all the tools that it will need, so you can look at how it's going to follow around. Now we want to see what this looks like in 3D. So we're going to go to machining and simulate 3D. We're going to hit OK on this. We're going to turn our light bulb on and hit the play button, and it'll play down through the order of operations here. And when it's all finished, you can hold the shift and right mouse button down if you want to kind of orbit around. You can zoom in, you can pan by holding right mouse. Taking a look at how that looks, and it looks really nice at this point. So I'm going to get out of my simulator. I'm going to double click on perspective and then back to the top view. Now, looking at my document compared to my vector work here, there's a lot of extra space top and bottom. So I might change the size of my plate. So my plate was 12 by 12. Let's see what that looks like if I do maybe 12 by 9. So that looks a little bit better. My graphic is no longer centered, or my vector work is no longer centered. So I'm going to activate that precision input box again. Go to move. And then now I'm going to change the Y value to 4.5 because my height was 9. Hit OK. And this is pretty much ready to go. At this point, you'd want to save this. We're now ready to set this up for machining. So I would save this first. You can go to File and save your document. I'm just going to put mine on my desktop for right now. So we'll name that something that makes sense to you. And then you're going to go to Machining, and you will go to Output. You want to check that your current driver is set to IJ Arcs Techno HD. If it is not, you would go to the driver button here. Just takes a moment to load. And you'll go to Active Drivers and find Techno HD. Open the plus, and you would select IJ Arcs. And you would hit OK here and set that as your active driver. But you want to see that. At this point, all you have to do is say to File, and you want to name it. So I might say Eagles logo once again, and I'll put that on my desktop with the other file. This is a .nc file. That's what's going to be used on the CNC router, and your instructor will help you set that up after you machine your board.